The Supreme Court finally, and this ruling did take too long, rule what has been obvious from the beginning and would have been obvious to everybody in MAGA if a Democrat had tariffed the way President Trump has, which is it clearly exceeds the statutory authority granted back in 1977 or whatever by Congress to a president. I'll tell you what's interesting about the ruling. It was 6-3, by the way. All right. So this isn't about, who went bad on the right? The right is supposed to be about constitutionality and not exceeding statutory authority and overreach. Okay. This is what you guys used to be about. I'll tell you what's interesting. The court did not rule on whether or not the president was right to call this an emergency. And that's because the executive isn't usually questioned on its discretion to make a call it is granted the authority to make. Okay? So what does that mean? It means that the court doesn't usually question whether or not the president is right to call something an emergency, which is a really important idea that this president plays on all the time, because he uses a lot of powers saying that it's an emergency. So what made this different than other things that he's done, like sending in the National Guard in a lot of places, or wanting to send active military into places and saying it's an emergency? Difference here is the statutory authority, the delineation of powers between Congress and this president, that no other president had ever abused it this way. And that in the clear writing of it, it's not for long-term restructuring of the tariff system. It's to govern over imports in extreme or emergency situations. This was a no-brainer under the law. Okay? And it's not about activist courts. This court did everything it could not to rule on this. The Federal Circuit Court ruled right away that it was wrong. And this was obviously a major question. And the question is, well, now what? Well, the president's going to say the tariffs already did what they needed to do, and this is really wrong, and he's going to find another way, and they're going to drag their feet. See, just like with Epstein, they passed a law, even with Republicans, saying you got to release the files, and the administration just violated it. And then they continue to violate it. Will they do the same thing now? That's the real question. It's not the ruling by the court. That's easy. It's whether or not this administration will obey. And if they don't and do it quickly, shame on you for saying that you support this.
Americans are reacting to the tariffs that Supreme Court overturned, the tariffs that Trump had imposed on them. And they're saying that this is a great moment in the democratic space of America, with some feeling that the executive powers of the president have been reduced. So I want us to watch how they had commented on the, let me call it, the massive ruling of the Supreme Court, and hit our comment section to tell us what to feel about it, as we will also comment in the end. If you're watching us for the first time, kindly consider making a subscription. Let us watch.
In a major win, the Supreme Court was able to prove today that Trump broke the law by imposing illegal tariffs. It is actually the main duty of Congress to impose tariffs, not the president, as according to the Constitution. And guess what? Now over 1,000 companies are suing the Trump administration for the use of these illegal tariffs that costed their businesses tons of money, even causing many of them to foreclose. And now they're suing him for a refund. That's going to be billions of dollars. And I'm sure as this was unconstitutional from the beginning, these businesses will likely win their suits. And notably enough, Trump happens to lose over 70% of his lawsuits. But we're still left wondering, where's the articles of impeachment? Where's the trial and the removal? We have watched him break the law and go against the Constitution on multiple occasions now, so what the fuck are we waiting for?
I love the smell of justice in the morning. Trump's tariffs struck down by the U.S. Supreme Court. I'm glad to say I called it. Also, the Canadian government called it. Mark Carney called it. We knew that this was going to happen. There was a strong likelihood that the U.S. Supreme Court, despite the fact that it's been stacked by Trump loyalists, would still strike it down because it was so clear there was no way that they could avoid it. So now what happens? Billions and billions of dollars in tariffs are supposed to be paid back. But of course, the Trump government doesn't abide by court orders. So although the tariffs are going to go away, because I think they're going to have no choice with that, We'll see whether or not anybody sees any of that money that has been ungottenly gained, illegally gained by the Trump administration. Besides, Trump has already pocketed all that money. He's stolen it all. The biggest crime syndicate in the world running the U.S. government, stealing the money of U.S. taxpayers, putting it in their own pocket. But the big news today, justice in the morning. I love justice in the morning. Trump's tariffs struck down by the U.S. Supreme Court. I'm going to read the decision when I get a chance after I'm done my hearings this morning, and then post something a little bit later on in the day if I have some time.
It's supposed to be a State of the Union address next week from y'all's president. He's going to have to go back and rewrite that speech, baby, because now that these tariffs have been, by and large, struck down, because you know that's all he talk about. That's all this president talks about is tariff, tariff, tariff. You get a tariff. You get a tariff. 20%, 10%, 100% tariff. Everybody gets a tariff. And the Supreme Court said, stop it. You're done. We're not doing it anymore. You're not legally allowed. And needless to say, he completely flipped his lid on that court. Like only a narcissist could. Baby, he raged out during his speech. He was mad. Big mad. Not only is he big mad because this is humiliating and it makes him look small and weak, but $142 billion. Where the money there? Where the money gone? Now he gonna have to find a way to come up with this bread. Where's the money? We know he doesn't have it. We know he doesn't have it. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, 2 out of the 3 justices that ruled against him are people that he personally appointed. Oof. Listen, it's the least they could do. They've given him so many other wins. It's the least they could do is follow the law. Because, again, I think it was Justice Roberts or Justice Kavanaugh, one of them, they pointed out, a tariff is a tax on the American people. Like, that's what it boils down to. For some reason, his supporters, y'all wasn't getting that. A tariff is a tax on the American people. Congress is the only body in our government that can levy taxes in this kind of way. Federally and in a trade way. All they did was reiterate the law. That's it.
Trump just accused the Supreme Court of treason, literally saying they're run by a hostile foreign intelligence service. I'm not kidding. In his lunatic meltdown press conference about the ruling on tariffs, which was actually the only decision consistent with the law. I mean, Congress controls the tariff power under the Constitution. He was claiming this broad, wild, economy-destroying power in a statute that didn't even mention the word tariff. So, again, just more of him. Think about if you're a foreign power, if you're a foreign country like Ukraine, how are you going to rely upon a security guarantee from this guy? How are you going to trust any trade deal? Which, by the way, he just blew up all the trade deals in this press conference from this guy. How are you going to trust him for anything? Are we going to trust him? Nope.
Wow, this is pretty incredible breaking news. I saw this coming. A lot of us saw this coming. The Supreme Court said Trump's tariffs were illegal. They are illegal. This is a nightmare for him and his administration. That means they are going to have to pay back all of the tariff money. I mean, I don't know how the final ruling is going to be broken down, but that's the way the law works. If they determine that it was illegal, then the monies have to be returned to all parties. And Costco was one of the first companies to sue the Trump administration for those illegal tariffs and wanting their money back that they had to pay in tariffs. This is incredible news, just breaking, and there's going to be a lot more, but Trump's tariffs have been deemed illegal by the Supreme Court. More to come. And by the way, let me know what you guys think, because we haven't really discussed it much, but I'd like to know your thoughts on this whole thing. I'm pretty sure everybody's on the same page. Nobody liked tariffs, at least anybody who has a normal thought.
Supreme Court justices did not side with Trump on a tariff ruling today, and he's fucking pissed. If you didn't see, there was a huge ruling today where the Supreme Court, which is a conservative majority, said the tariffs are completely unconstitutional. And not only that, but Trump did not have the authority to do so. So now this is going to set a precedent for Trump and for other presidents in terms of limiting the amount of executive power they have over the economy. Which is good because if you don't know, the tariffs cost the average taxpayer an extra $1,000 last year. This is a really big deal because he started attacking the conservative court, of which 3 people he appointed and got confirmed because of this strategic planning by Trump. They've had a conservative majority on the court, which is why we've had so much crazy shit happen in terms of legislation and a complete rollback of rights. But if there's one thing that pisses off white conservatives, it's losing money. So they've officially turned their backs on Trump in this ruling, which is why it's a big deal because he's taken to the internet calling them stupid, insulting their intelligence, and calling them disloyal, which is proof that he sees the Supreme Court as serving his agenda and his only. So hopefully he continues to shoot himself in the foot and argue with the Supreme Court because they might actually start passing some more fair rulings.
When are you people going to understand that when the President of the United States says that he is putting a 10% global tariff on products, the other countries are not going to be paying that? We are going to be paying that as punishment for the Supreme Court not agreeing with him.
So you mean to tell me the Supreme Court has ruled against Trump's tariffs, limiting his power, you guys, to impose duties, which is such a great thing, okay? This is a win for democracy, okay? This is what I'm talking about. So listen, if you guys don't know, Trump was trying to implement tariffs around the world underneath the 1977 International Emergency Economic Power Act, basically at any time just being like, okay, I'm gonna put these tariffs on you. Listen, it came down 6-3 in this vote in the Supreme Court. And obviously Trump was not happy about this. He said that their decision was a disgrace, allegedly, according to sources. And I'm very, very happy about this. I'm very, 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 very happy about this because we're still on the verge of dictatorship. I'll say that. But this kind of slowed it down just a little bit. They did their job. And I'm very happy that the Supreme Court decided to do their job. Thank you, Supreme Court, for doing what you are paid to do. I appreciate you.
So what does this mean in the advancement of the democratic space of America? That is what I would like to talk about today, because when Trump assumed power, he thought that his executive powers were so much greater than the rule of law. The rule of law where he could make decisions and claim that he has the powers to do so. And one of them is about the tariffs he imposed that the Supreme Court have lately overturned. This shows that America is an advanced democracy. America is a country that respects the rule of law, and it is upon him to respect this, even though he has slammed this outcome of the Supreme Court, saying that the Supreme Court ruling is not right, and he has even abused the judges, saying that they have an empty head on the ruling. He's saying that more is expected to come. But what really does the people say? That is all you have heard. And the people are saying that he has to respect that ruling. He has to go by what the Supreme Court has said, because that is what America wants. America wants respect to the rule of law. America wants a situation whereby the president is not above the law. No one is above the law. Things are looked upon the right way, not in the interest of the president. That is all I can comment about in this video. If you're watching us for the first time, kindly hit our comment section, because that is how we will know your thought on this issue that is trending now. So let us comment on it, and also do not forget to make a subscription. Thank you, and let's meet when we bring another video.